We are live. It's Alicia Stringer here. We're gonna have Pam,
Chris.
and Chris is on. And I'm going to go and take her to the room that we're having a cool hangout. And I want to introduce our panel over to Valerie, because we're going to be talking about some masterful stuff. Thanks, guys.
And it's the mommypreneur with the kids in the background. So welcome everybody. And I want, first of all, I'm so excited that today we have as our special guest Chris Rocheleau. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
And we're gonna what we're gonna be talking about today. But briefly, we'll just introduce. And Keisha, welcome, Keisha and Greta. Everybody's here. We're all here. Great. So, wanted because we keep our hangouts short so that you guys can, get the value, be very focused, and really get into your lives. And so today, our topic, and the reason why we have Chris here. Chris is a wonderful friend, an incredible, powerful, successful person in business, and a six-figure earner and multi-six-figure earner. And what we're going to be talking about is what was the massive personal mindset shift? What was that shift that happened? So, ladies, if you want to start anything, I really kind of want to get right into Chris, unless you guys want to start off and say something. Any thoughts? Otherwise, because we love to keep them short and keep them so folks have the time and the energy to be here.
I would just say make sure you've got something to write with, a pen,
yes,
some paper to take down some notes, because you're going to want to pay attention to what Chris has to share with us today, and take some notes and walk away with the millionaire mindset that you came here for.
Yeah, and also FYI, just before we even get started, anything that anybody says here today, there's absolutely no guarantees that anything's going to happen in your life, because we don't know whether you're going to take action on what we share today. And anything that we talk about there, you can see sort of an income disclaimer below. You can click, there's a link below for you to get all that information, just getting that out of the way. Hey, my back life, I am a recovering attorney, so the attorney geek in me just loves saying all that. So there you go. I can't help it. Once an attorney geek, always an attorney geek. Okay, so Chris, welcome. And it was so great to see you in Charlotte, and I would love for the folks here that I know there's folks that do know you, but the folks that don't know you would love to know your story, and really what was the powerful for you? What was the powerful mindset shift? What would you say is the most powerful mindset shift that led you into the success in your business, and how you got there, how you got into that shift?
Well, thank you, Valerie. I appreciate that. Really, guys, it's, yeah, wow, now that you put it that way, it's like it makes me almost, I'm taken aback a little bit and go, wow, there was a couple major pivotal shifts that happened for me. But, let me first begin by telling people that, this is something that can happen to anybody, and normally the biggest part about having these major shifts is setting an intention to want to know what it is that's holding you back, and be willing and open to it. I was just having a conversation with someone today on Facebook, and they said, I just asked these two questions. They asked me two questions, and the second one was about, well, what is it that you think in my mindset that might be, causing this fear and holding me back? And he said, well, wait, I don't know if I want to know that. And I said, that's why you're still struggling. And because you've got to be okay with wanting to know the truth and wanting to know what it is that's really getting to the core of you that may be stopping you subconsciously that you don't even know was the case. And so you want to make an intention to let it be known and visible to you to where you know what it is, and then also have the courage to be able to face it head on and realize that normally it's a big fear that's not even real. A lot of people have heard that acronym, fear is false evidence appearing real. I buy into that, and it works. It served me well because I know that, you know, there may be something that I have a faulty belief about myself or something else, and it stops me, and I go, you know what, I've got to understand this better. I want to understand this better. I make the intention, I set the intention to understand this better. I want to know why it is that I sabotage myself. And so the thing that I needed to get about myself was a realization about a few things that seemed to be in one way to the outside person, like, oh yeah, you know, good, you finally got that. But for me, it was so monumental that it literally took me from earning an income of only a couple thousand a month to literally within 3 months doing about just under $17,000 in my business. An income disclaimer, results not typical. I went absolutely crazy day and night working on this stuff, but that would not have happened had I not had these major realizations. And so now that you understand what it did for me, let me tell you a little bit about what happened and why this can happen for you too. So this was about a year and a half, let's see, almost 2 years ago now. I was at an event. We were actually at the Fight the Forces of Evil event in San Diego. And the whole weekend was, in a way, just very, you know, synchronous in a lot of ways, because before I had gone to that event, I had set the intention that I wanted to know why things were difficult for me right now. And I went to that event with that intention to find out what it was, and I said to myself, I'm going to face it head on, whatever it is, and I'm going to deal with it because I want to be successful. And here's the bigger part. I knew I had a purpose in this that I wasn't fulfilling, and that's guilt that's on you when you know you're supposed to be doing something on purpose. This is a part of what you do, and you can't even do that because you're not living into yourself fully. And so what happened at this event is I set the intention, and the funniest thing, it's like the random normal things that would happen triggered thoughts and triggered visual pictures and memories of things that just was like, wow, how in the heck where did that come from? And it started on Friday night when my good buddy Rob Ford was on stage, and he walked us through an exercise, and he said, wow, do you guys hear that in the background, that clapping sound? Literally a hailstorm just started outside of my house right now. Huge hail.
Cool. Cool.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, that's cool.
Those hail balls are like the size of golf balls. This is insane. This is what you get for living in the mountains of Colorado. That's almost like, wow, almost, I can barely think. That's insane. So, okay, let me refocus here. Anyways, that'll pass. If you don't like the weather in Colorado, wait 15 minutes, it changes, right? I mean, that's just what everyone says. And it's true. So I'm at the event, back to the event, and Rob is on stage, and he's walking us through an exercise. And this is an exercise you can do for yourself that I found started me off on the path of rediscovering what was the major thing that I realized that helped push me over the edge and really unlock myself and move to the next level. And so he said, you know, set yourself a goal and tell yourself a goal that you want to achieve, and then be very mindful and pay attention to a sensation that you have in your body. Now, when you set this goal, it's going to be a goal that you already believe in your mind that you cannot hit, that it's just too big for you. But you're going to say it to yourself as if you're really setting this goal, and you put yourself in the place where you're actually setting this goal. Let's just stretch ourselves. And he said, and then when you do that, pay attention to your body and where the sensation is in your body. You're going to get a sensation somewhere. Some of you may feel it in your neck. Some of you may feel it in your gut. Some of you may feel it in your legs. Some of you may feel it in your toes. Some of you may feel a little bit of a headache. Whatever the case may be, you'll feel a sensation somewhere. And when that happens, you're going to pay attention to that sensation, and you're going to ask your body to give you a memory as to when you developed that faulty belief that made you think you can't accomplish that. And here's the funniest thing that happened to me. I mean, it was like almost surreal. So I'm actually telling myself at the time, yeah, right, this ain't going to work. But okay, let me say 150,000 or 150,000 next year in income. And for 2013, because we were a couple months away from starting 2013. This was back in October, end of October. And so I did this and I said that, and all of a sudden I felt this tightening in my stomach and my solar plexus. And I was like, what? Okay, well, all right. And I just said to myself, show me a memory of what this is about. And it's like, you know, you can do this kind of stuff all the time, but for some reason I set that intention before the event to want to know. And so my body responded and my subconscious mind responded, and all of a sudden I was like teleported back to like 4 years old. And I was in my mother's daycare because she ran a daycare. And I was the youngest boy, and there was other boys that were, you know, 4, 5, and 6, and 7 around me, and I was the youngest. And, you know, if any of you know me, you know I'm just kind of a little weird and different and think about things differently and stuff. And, you know, that's why me and Dave always got along well. I don't show it outwardly. I more so show it inwardly, you know, with a normal haircut. So, but I'm in that daycare, and I'm saying things that I see and understand, which all of the other boys are like, kind of looking at me like, I don't even get where you're coming from right now. And I'm talking about the things I'm going to do and the things I'm going to accomplish, and I'm going to be a millionaire and all this stuff. And they're like, no, you're not. You know, every single one of them was just cutting me down, you know, older than me, like, you don't know what you're talking about. And I got that from all of them. And for some reason, it was like, I remembered like they were all kind of standing there just laughing at me. And at that moment, I kind of realized, I was like, okay, when I was an adult, as an adult looking in on this situation, I could look at it and understand it for what it was, rather than seeing it through the eyes of a 4-year-old child. I didn't even know how to read yet, and I was saying stuff like this. So I can understand them, you know, saying I was weird. I kind of forgive them for that. But they said, or what I said to myself was, well, obviously, me being myself is not going to work with people, because I'm not going to be accepted, and I'm not going to be able to live into my truth, and probably the things that I want to do are probably not possible. Because if they are, then I would have to sacrifice. If I was to go and accomplish those things that I said I wanted to, I would have to sacrifice being accepted by everybody. And as an adult, I was, you know, I looked at that and was like, wow, did you just think that is the dumbest thing ever? Why would I ever think that? But at 4 years old, you're like, okay, this is my world. And so I saw that in my memory sitting there. I'm in the front row of the event because I set the intention that I wanted to be right in the middle of the energy. A lot of you, if you come to our events, you'll see me in the front row. And I actually, like, I do that on purpose. Like, I actually compete with everyone to get to the front row, although I could probably just walk in beforehand and say, hey, guys, the rules don't apply to me, which I do use that card at very few times. But I actually do that on purpose because I want to appreciate it. And that's why I don't give stuff, you know, like I don't give a lot of free stuff away to people, because I want them to be able to pay for it and appreciate it. It's something about an energetic exchange, right? And so the same thing goes on with this, where I'm in the front row, I've set my intention, I'm present, and this memory comes up, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh my God, wow, well, okay. And so I come back to, out of that kind of semi-trance of a memory, open my eyes, and I'm like, okay, now how do I deal with this? I don't really know. Like, why is that a problem? You know, like, okay, I get that was, you know, the issue, but that wasn't all. This was only the first part. So stay with me. Really, this is where it gets really friggin' weird. Okay, so the next night, I'm actually out at dinner with Rob Four and Troy and Justin Varengia and a few other people, like probably a table of like 12 or 15 of us. And Rob has had quite a bit to drink at that time because he got done speaking. He's having a blast now. He's enjoying the weekend, and he's sitting right next to me, and we're kind of like going back and forth about different things. And for some reason, I saw him just kind of, for a moment, he kind of like rose up, and I was sitting to his right. And so if I'm Rob, you see him kind of go like this and then go like this and kind of look over at me, and he goes, dude, you're playing so small right now, it makes me sick. And And I was like, yeah, because I'd never heard him talk that way to me, you know, so I didn't even know, like, I was like, am I supposed to be offended right now, or am I supposed to be like, what, huh? You know? And so I was just kind of like, oh, and then he just kind of went back to, you know, mumbling about other stuff. And it was like, I even wondered if that was like him that even said it, you know, sometimes I was just like, you know, and everyone was around, and it was an awkward moment where everyone at the table was kind of like, what just happened? You know, so, and then it was just quiet for a minute, and then everyone just started talking again and just kind of moved on from it. And I was just like, that was awkward, you know, what the heck? And so what happened for the rest of the weekend was I had a friend with me that lived in San Diego that had come to the event, that was looking at Atom Power and was looking at being able to, you know, join and all of that, but was checking everything out. And so what I found walking around the event, I actually hear an echo going on right now, so I can't hear myself think. I think it's on Brenda's end. Thank you. So what I actually found was, as I was around the event, I wasn't necessarily a leader or a producer, you know, by any stretch of the imagination, but I was known well because I had done some of the inner circle interviews and taught on the 15K formula, and, you know, for the certain things that I kind of specialized in for a while. And so people knew who I was. And so a lot of people wanted to come up to me and get interviews and videos and take pictures and stuff. And so what would happen is my friend Tashina would be there, and I would get asked to be interviewed. And so I would start talking, people would start interviewing me, and my friend Tashina, who knows me very well, she's a very dear friend, would walk off. And I just, you know, this happened like all 3 days of the event. I would notice it, and I didn't say anything, and I was like, you know, the part of me, my ego, was like, she could probably learn from what I'm saying. Why is she walking away? You know, like, how could I be so arrogant, right? And knowing, you know, not knowing yet that it was my actual, you know, insecurity of my ego that was stopping me from this stuff. But, you know, I'm getting ahead of myself. So at the end of the event, it was Sunday night. I'm at her house after the event, and it's like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And I'm sitting out in the driveway. It's a dark night. There wasn't much of a moon out, so it was pretty dark outside. And we're just sitting on these little bricks that are just like set out, you know, from the driveway. We're just sitting down on it, almost on the ground. And I finally asked her, I said, Tashina, why is it that it seemed like every single time I was being interviewed or people coming and talking to me, you walked away? I didn't understand it. Was there something wrong? And what she said to me triggered the most surreal event I've ever had in my life. And I really feel it was because of my intention, because it was nothing monumental, but it was absolutely what I needed to hear. And I really feel it was from setting the intention. And so she said, you know, every time you were talking with someone, it actually made me sick to my stomach, and I couldn't be around you. And I was like, why? And she said, because you were attempting to be what you needed to be to them, rather than choosing to fully be yourself, knowing that they needed that more. And when she said it, I looked forward, and it's like this movie screen appeared to me, and I saw every moment in my life in a moment. It all just like a near-death experience type of thing where your whole life flashes before your eyes, but it was specific to seeing every situation and every relationship and every business relationship and friendship, all of them, how they were affected by my limiting belief of not really fully choosing to be myself, accept myself, and honor myself before others, which actually honors them even more, rather than just honoring them and attempting to be somebody to them, what they needed, but not honoring myself. And I saw all the pain that I suffered through, and all the pain that I caused in each relationship, and how much anguish and frustration and struggle that I went through because of those relationships, not understanding why I kept on creating them. And in that moment, I saw it all, and it was like, it felt like I was being shown all of this for, 30 seconds. It felt that way. But when Tashina later told me, it was like it literally happened in 2 to 3 seconds. And I saw all of this, and I finally got it. And so then I basically just broke down, started crying, realizing how much pain I had caused and inflicted on myself, and blamed others for it, realizing that I was the only one that created everything in my life, and it was my beliefs about myself that caused that struggling. And the funniest thing was that I didn't realize this until the next day when I woke up and felt a little disjointed, disoriented, not even feeling like myself, because I kind of felt like there was like a lot of energy about me that just left. It dissipated, and my body was kind of recalibrating to just this new way of operating and understanding to honor myself. And, because I always got comfortable in the potential. Some people may understand what I'm talking about when I say that. A lot of people see you're full of potential, and you're actually too afraid to live into that potential because you like being accepted by people when they say you have this potential, you could be this, you could be a six-figure earner, you could be amazing, you have this potential to be that, I know it's inside of you, and this is how you get your attention, this is how people validate you. So rather than me living into that, I stayed in that place of always creating being in more potential rather than creating what I actually wanted, which is a lot of if you look at the law of attraction and all of the stuff around that, and you can the law of attraction is just one way to talk about it. There's many different ways to relate that, and how your thoughts are things and you create things, and even the Bible talks about this, and many different spiritual, all of them really talk about this in a different way, but they're saying the same thing. And what I was always creating in every moment was potential. My breakthrough is just around the corner. I'm going to be a six-figure earner rather than saying I am a six-figure earner. And so I woke up the next day and realized things were just different, and I knew that it was time for a change, and I knew that I had to be it rather than just talk it. And that's why I started my team, which, as everyone knows, we named it Team Be the Change, because we don't make excuses for ourselves and we honor ourselves. And what happened that day is that I set a new direction, and I did turn that corner. Rather than continuing to say my breakthrough's around the corner, I was saying I want my breakthrough, it's coming now, and it's happening right now. And it did. And so I shifted my energy and I shifted my focus, and that unlocked all of this energy that I went into a complete craziness for the next 90 days. And at the end of those 90 days, I was well on my way to, like I said, just under $17,000 in income from that month, and I never looked back. So be very careful about what you justify to yourself and what you think you need, and be open and present in every moment to what the universe and what the world or what God, whatever have you for you, doesn't matter, whatever opens up and unfolds for you, and all you have to do is submit your ego at the door and allow that part of you to show you what's next for you. And it really is about the submission of the ego. And it was really that night that I got over myself. And I've never even been the same person since. And for those who know me, all confirm that to me and tell me that I was a different person after that. And I finally was able to lead, to be a real leader, because I was talking and walking the talk and being the talk, being the change, rather than just talking about it but not being an example. Because leaders lead by example, not by talking. They don't do what you say, they do what you do. And so a lot of people say, well, they think that leading is having to have all the answers and all the information and be everything to everybody, when it really comes down to, most of the time, all you're going to do is confuse people. And you just do a certain set of actions and you stay consistent with them, and you don't change from that. You don't waver from that. And if you change and if you waver from that and you start doing different things, it takes a long time to have a whole crowd of people, your followers, your tribe, your team, to follow you and start doing the new thing that you're doing. It takes about another 60 to 90 days to really get everyone on track when you tell them, hey, let's go do this now. Oh, wait a second, now we're doing this. Or here's my decision about this. Or when you're not clear. Or when you're trying to promote multiple things, people get confused and go, where am I supposed to be with you at? You know, am I supposed to be with you here in this company? Or should I buy the products here? Or should I be in this company with you? If you're promoting multiple things, then you know what that means? You're about the money and you're not about significance and helping people. Which when you do that, you automatically get what you want anyway. So that's why I've stayed focused on one company and one opportunity. And I do sell tools to people to help them with that. You know, that's the multiple streams of income people talk about. But if you try to do multiple companies, you're shooting yourself in the foot. I've seen it many times, but, you know, people still do it thinking the multiple streams of income is the right way. Well, that's fear-based thinking. You need to have multiple streams of income. Benjamin Franklin said, put all your eggs in one basket and watch that basket. Take care of the baby. And that's what we've done. So as a result of that for our team, and just so you guys know, I'm not promoting the team. We actually don't allow anyone outside of our line of sponsorship into our team. So there's no promotion here. I'm just telling you what we do, and my hope is that you do that as an example as well, is what we tell people in our team is to, you know, this is what we do. This is where we're focused. We're not changing from this. And they know that. And we've proven that over time, which is why they stick around, which is why we have high retention, which is why we have the highest upgrades in the company, because they trust and know the message. It hasn't ever changed, just like David Wood's message has never, ever changed. And we're consistent with that. And so these are the things that seem so simple, but they're a lot harder to do for people when you're in fear or ego and you're trying to maximize money or do multiple income streams or all of that stuff that doesn't give you a long-term, you're not making space for a long-term residual, you know? And what I've found is that when you really hammer this to a certain point where you stay consistent with your message and you stay consistent with what you're doing, what happens is this whole energy and the focus and the vision creates its own gravity. And it starts to grow beyond you without you continuing to put a lot of energy into it. And all you have to do is, by this time, very easily be the example. And it continues to grow because it develops leaders who do the same thing. But if you're always shifting around in what you're offering and what you're doing, you're never going to have a long-term business like most people, and that's really what we're all going for here, is the leverage to be able to create passive residual income that, you know, we may never completely walk away from it, but some can at some point, and it's still there. But for me, it's about the significance. You know, I stopped worrying about the money a long time ago. You know, I realized, and here's the other part of it that really set it off for me. This is what happened in January for me, was I was standing in my office and I was staring at my whiteboard, and I don't know how much time passed, but something happened. I don't know if I got divine inspiration. I don't know if I went into some kind of semi-trance or was just imagining, which very well could have been the case because I'm very ADD. And I walked over to my whiteboard and I wrote my purpose. And then I wrote a 1 below it. And I wrote, to set people free in their minds. And notice that had nothing to do with money. Because for me, I know and understand the path I've been on requires setting yourself free and creating more energy to focus on the direction you want to go. This is no easy task. And we have a million distractions every single day that can take you away from it. And so then I stepped back again and read that and read it out loud. And I could feel like these chills go down my spine, and I could feel like goosebumps all over my body. And I knew that this was what I was here to do. And so then I walked back to the whiteboard and I wrote 2. And then I wrote, remind them of who they really are. And I realized that that was a part of the teaching and training and helping people understand what they're really capable of, but not just being capable of it, but transitioning into the best part of it, which is then I wrote down number 3, and I said, inspire them to be the change they wish to see in the world. And for the first time in my life, I knew exactly what I was here to do. And everything after that had more energy, and it got easy because I got out of my own way. And from that, I've created something that I'm so proud of, that I'm just a normal person, which set an intention and held to it. And what that means is that anyone here watching this can do that too. And it's a choice. It's a conscious choice. And you can have what you want, and you can have both. If you have a problem with money and thinking that a lot of people who make a lot of money have issues, or they're evil, or they're bad people, or they're greedy, you got to realize that's not true. Bill Gates has single-handedly raised the average of third world countries living from $1 a day to $3 a day. And he doesn't just give money, he sets up structures in the society for people to be able to generate that for themselves, because he has the resources and the pull of people to join him and help him in these projects. And you can have both. You can help people. You can give a lot of it away, but give it for good causes. You can develop your skills and give of yourself in ways that may not always make you money, but it really fulfills that contribution part of yourself. And it's an everyday thing. And it keeps you happy. And you can also have everything you need and everything that you really want, unless you're really into a lot of materialistic stuff, which, hey, to each their own. I'm not here to judge. You know, someone wants a nice car, go ahead. If that makes you feel good about, you know, achieving what you have and it's a symbol of it, that's fine. Know that you can still do both, and you can still help and give and still have what you want. It's not one or the other. And so, in summary here, it comes down to setting the intention, being open to the process and being present in the process, holding to it, which I said twice. You wonder how important that is. Refocusing, and making sure that it's bigger than yourself. Because when I went from self-absorbed to service-oriented, everything shifted. And so that's my story.
Thank you so much, Chris.
You're
I
welcome.
had a quick question.
Absolutely.
How did you shift from having that self-confidence that you were giving those interviews and everything to understanding that it was purely ego? I think a lot of people are unaware of how to recognize the differences between having that self-confidence and having an ego toward others.
Sure. Because when I saw what I saw, I realized that, you know, what I was doing was a win-lose situation. You know, I did a lot of inner circle interviews where I was honoring the person that I was interviewing and attempting to, in every way, make them look as good as and get everything out of them that we could for other people. It's not like it was a malicious intent. I was doing the best I could. But the thing was is that I didn't necessarily step into my own and step up and meet that leader at that same level that I knew I was capable of, and be able to have a higher level conversation with them that allowed everyone to benefit even more. Does that make sense? So it comes down to honoring yourself so that you can honor others as well. Now, a lot of those interviews are amazing, and you'll get a lot from those people. But if you ever see any interviews these days from me, which I might do a few, I may actually go back to the inner circle and do a few. They've been asking me to. I just have been so busy. You'll see a different energy there. And they'll be dynamite, because I understand what I'm capable of, and I live it every day. And so I can bring up the leaders as well as I've grown and now understand what I'm worth and understand that about them as well. and bring out the best in them. Not anyone can bring out the best in someone. And that's what a leader does, because they understand that what they're bringing to the table makes that person better. Believing in people. And my team knows that. And the leaders know that. So does that answer your question, Alicia?
Yes, by the clap. I need to put the clap on. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Did anybody else have questions? Valerie just popped off.
Actually, Chris, I do have a question, and yes, I recognize that voice from those inner circle interviews, and always was so glad to see you when I could put the face to the voice at the events. My question to you, when you talk about, I think it was 3 steps that you have, where the first one is setting an intention and holding on to that. With the many years it took you to recognize what that was or identify, were there some action or daily action steps that you did to keep you there, to get that mindset shift that you needed, or just to keep you there where you're holding on to that intention?
You know, for certain things, Kesha, and that's a really good question. That's a very astute question. So thank you for that, because this is going to help people with this. And what this comes down to is there's some things that you need to set an intention and do a daily practice with. And there are some things literally by their mere recognition shifts the way you operate, think, and feel in every moment. And that major realization I had in San Diego that night in the driveway shifted the way I literally operated and looked at myself and looked at other people in every breath. And so what started to happen almost seemed so synchronous and so magical around me, because people responded to me differently because I was showing up differently. So there wasn't necessarily a daily practice in that, although now I could consciously start saying, okay, how do I take it to the next level? And so if it was anything, I started to set the intention of, okay, what's the next major realization? I want to know that as well, because, you know, I'm not done yet. I'm still human. God's not done with me yet. So it still comes down to setting the daily intention, you know, and because of that, that starts to let everything else fall in place when you're sincere and pure with your intention about it, and you really mean it, and you believe that it can happen. As a perfect example, we were wrapping up a 90-day challenge call with our team last night, and it was graduation night. Everyone was happy. You know, we had about, I think it was 60 people join the challenge, and we were kind of concerned about that because it was a smaller number. We had done challenges before, but it was a smaller number this time because we gave them a lot more hoops to jump through in order to even join. We wanted to filter out people who weren't really serious. And so this was an experiment. And, you know, here we were 90 days later, and we had about 15 people on the call. 45 had quit, which is like a 25% retention at 90 days, which the closest we'd ever gotten at a 90-day challenge the last time around was like 10%. Which is a tip for you about how you filter your prospects and filter your market when you're targeting them and your values and what you say and bringing in quality people. And so we had this this graduation, you know, kind of just webinar, you know, life after the 90-day challenge, find an accountability partner, continue on with the momentum you have, all the daily habits you've created. And we were celebrating people's successes and having them come out on the webinar. Well, here was the crazy thing that happened last night, which I was shocked and didn't know what was happening. There were 2 people in our team. They'd actually met at an event in Miami. Sparks flew, and they ended up getting together. Now, they live close to each other, a few states away on the East Coast. Before they got together, they had both set their intention that they wanted to move to Colorado because they loved it there after being here from the Denver event and knowing that a lot of our leaders were out here in Colorado, and it felt right for them. So here's the crazy thing. They set an intention that they wanted to move to Colorado. Then they meet at the event in Miami like 7 months ago. And they go through this 90-day challenge, and what we found out is when we were on the call last night, they called in from their phone, they were using their iPhone app for GoToMeeting, and they were listening in, and then they sent us a message, and so we pulled them out on the call. They were literally moving to Colorado, driving together. And here's the crazy part that will just bake your noodle. I mean, just wow, is that they both realized on the call that they had set an intention to start to move to Colorado July 14th, yesterday, separately, and they didn't even know about the other one setting that intention. And they did that 90 days ago. And although they didn't accomplish all of the goals through the 90-day challenge, their intention came true. Not their goals, but their intention. And they literally said, July 14th, I will be driving out. Unbeknownst to each other, they found this out talking about it live on the call, on the webinar last night. Now you can imagine me, if you know me or Amy or Jordan, it doesn't take much to get any of us in tears. And you can imagine that all of us was in tears last night to see the power of an intention and holding to it. And they went through hell to be able to make it happen. And even the guy, he even forgot that he had said it, and he's like, wait a second, I did set this intention. Then he went and looked at his notebook as he's driving. He pulls up his notebook, his notepad of everything, and he sees the intention set in there, and it's dated for the first day of the 90-day challenge. And we're looking at this like, once again, the power of intention. Being willing to accept what's next. And not try to control how you get there, but just know that if you've set the intention and you're serious, hold to it, it can happen. And so it all comes back to intention. Amazing story. I mean, last night I just even told them, I said, you know, this is the stuff miracles are made of. And the cool thing is they're just both average people. They've had a little bit of results in their business, but they go through and consciously commit to what they want and trusted that. It's an amazing story. That's how powerful an intention can be. So for those that may be looking at this going, you know, an intention can't be that much. An intention is what you make it. Take personal responsibility for it. Know that you are the one that either made it happen or not. And know that when you set that intention, if you trust it, you always have help when you need it. You're always supported. That was a beautiful thing about it. So hopefully that answers your question, Keisha.
It definitely does. And it's so powerful. And even when you said being true to yourself, that seems in the last couple of weeks, even stating back to Charlotte, where Nicole got up there and explained, don't try to be on the same level or copy someone else. Be true to yourself. And just last night at my Toastmasters meeting, that was one of the speeches of the speakers there, who he just wrote a book about how your differences are what's going to help you succeed. So don't try to be like everyone else. Realize and recognize who you are, and then you come on and say the same thing, Chris. Almost just you had to be true to yourself and who you are. And I'm amazed by how, like you said, everything works out. You know.
That's cool. See how synchronous things are?
Yes.
When you're aligned with your intention, that's what happens. So yeah. Any other questions, guys?
Them.
I don't know. Can you see me? Somebody unmute me?
Yes. Yes. You're good, Valerie. Uh-oh. Now I can't hear you. Uh-oh. Connection's not too strong on that end. Valerie, we can't hear you, just so you know.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great, perfect. So I just...
You muted yourself again. And you're muted again.
Now she's dropped.
You know, that's just what technology sometimes, you know, we deal with it. It's all right.
My Hangout plugin wasn't working in the beginning. I'm like, I'm on this. I just was on this yesterday. How is that happening? Chris, we really, really are so thankful. This has been a long time coming, and we are so thankful that you took time to be here with us. Greta, did you want to say anything?
I was just hesitating to unmute myself because of the background noise that was the feedback that was coming from my end, and I didn't want to, you know, I wanted everybody who actually took the time today to watch this live or you're watching the recording, I wanted to make sure that everybody had the chance to hear every single word that was shared here today. I am just...
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, Valerie.
Yeah, Valerie, we can hear you now. Greta's finishing up something real quick, so.
Yeah, I just, I don't know if you noticed, but I was quite emotional through you talking today with us, Chris, and I almost feel like I'm going to start crying again. I think I just had a major breakthrough, and I'm just so appreciative, and it is so true that this whole intention thing, when you set an intention, how things start to fall into place, and just never ever give up, no matter how long it takes you to get to where you see yourself being, or you know truly in your heart who you are and who you're meant to live, like what your purpose is. Just like Chris was talking about, and just what you shared, just all your breakthroughs, it was just really, I am a lover of authenticity and real people and people who live through their heart and speak from their heart, and I'm just so grateful to have been here today, and it was just really opened my mind and my heart, and just made me realize that I am so in the right place at the right time. And yeah, I'm just full of gratitude. So thank you so much, everybody, all of you, Valerie, Keisha, Alicia. I mean, it's not just, you know, we had a ton of value from you here today, Chris, and it's just, I have been walking this path with these women here and so many more people, and it's just awesome and exciting and feels good to be alive, so thank you.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. That's what it's about, is being able to see the breakthroughs. You know, that's why we really do this thing, you know. That's what this business and this industry has given me, is I had people come to me at a young age when I was in this industry and help me to understand how to shift my focus into positivity all the time and change my verbal wording of things when I would say I can't, or, you know, that's a problem. They're like, no, it's a challenge, not a problem. And don't say I can't, and don't say try. Delete that from your vocabulary. You need to start changing the way you speak, because how you speak forms a habit, and those habits create your actions, and your actions create, you know, your character traits. And so I know and understand where you're coming from, and it was tough. Even, like, you know, I could feel like you were about to cry again. You were putting me in tears almost again. I could just feel it, and you know, that's what this is about. When I see, because now I see it in others. I see other people break through, and that's why I really feel like just setting people free is the most important thing, and the rest takes care of itself. So I'm very thankful that this helped you, and I hope that this helped others on the Hangout that are here listening, or if you're watching the recording, and that this will hopefully move you forward, give you a shift, give you a breakthrough, and help you understand a little bit more about what it takes to be a leader and to have the courage to live into your purpose. So that's it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So that's it.
Thank you so much. And for those of you that want to connect with us, I don't know, can you guys hear me at this point?
We
Yep.
can hear and see you.
All right, okay, rock and roll. Okay, so thank you so much, Chris. And for anybody that wants to connect with us, there's a link below. You can access.
There she goes again.
Everything's on the Millionaire Mindset Hangout.com page, and we've cookied this for our team to put the question mark in their ID to connect with people, as well as we've got the Superwomen call coming on right now, so you can dial in, and we've got those details daily coming up because we've got our own boot camp starting up Thursday. We're so excited about and getting more people involved, and like your team went on a 90-day challenge. This is going to be just for a month, and of just a big push of a lot of super women giving out their value each week, and we're so excited for the boot camp to get started. So dial into the super women. We always have offering tons of value as well. So I'm going to put that push out there because it starts like in 5 minutes. So we wanted to make sure we got that information out there for you guys, and so blessed that you came on, Chris. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. Thank you. Honored to serve.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
ladies.
Thank you.
Have a great day, and I'll end it now. Bye, guys.
Woohoo! We're still alive.